What's going on, guys? Aftersound here. Welcome back to the channel where we bring you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream over on Twitch daily at This Is Aftersound. So come by, say hello. We do giveaways every stream and we do giveaways every week here on the channel. All you got to do is leave your in-game username in the comments, and I pick out my favorite comments every single week on the weekly Q&A videos. All right, so why do I suck at this game? The title is a little tongue-in-cheek. So what I wanted to address there were some comments that came through talking about how I was not, I was spread too thin or not properly building out decks according to certain splinters or whatever the case is. And the thing is, these were not offensive comments. These were actually very constructive, and I appreciate them a lot. But I just thought it was worth making a video to kind of explain, especially for people who might be newer to the channel, what my approach has been. So as I've said before, and this is mainly for the new people, like I came to this game not as a player, but as an investor. I came for the investment. I stayed for the game because I really, really enjoy it. I used to play Magic the Gathering and Pokemon when I was a lot younger, so card games they have a special place in my heart. Now, what my focus has actually been very somewhat scatterbrained, right? Because this ecosystem is so mature in many ways, and yet there's still so much room for it to grow. There's still so much development that is going to happen, but at least when I see it compared to other games, the market, both for sale and rental, is phenomenal, right? The delegation system, all of this stuff is it allows for people to approach this game in really any manner that they want, right? Like, you can rent cards, never own a single thing, and be successful winning games, winning prizes, winning tournaments, and extracting value from the game in that way, or at least achieving success within the game that way. Then there are others who come in who don't really feel like playing the game at all, but they want to buy the assets because it's cool or whatever the case is. And not only that, not only are they buying the assets as a potential like increase in value over time, but they get to rent it out. So as I've said, it's like digital real estate. So that's kind of been my goal the entire time. And the league that I play in, right? Like, I made the jump from bronze to silver after some of the bronze rewards nerfs. The league that I play in doesn't really, you need to have leveled up cards if you want to be competitive, ideally, right? Like, the level limits here for summoners, we're seeing level 4 for rares. Those are the most common is not the word I should use, but obviously most of the summoners are rare. So therefore, if you're not playing with leveled up summoners and therefore leveled up monsters to go with those summoners, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And I've spoken about it here. I've spoken about it on the Twitch streams, that a lot of times my strategy might be sound. I'm just overmatched. I may have better cards in a sense, but I get, in terms of like having a legendary card or whatever the case is, but I get beaten by cards that are just, leveled up versions of something. So it's been an interesting dynamic, and part of the reason that I'm kind of in this limbo zone, and hopefully this limbo zone is going to end in a couple of weeks, is because I'm waiting for Chaos Legion to come out. Obviously, I've bought a good amount of packs. I plan on investing in summoners at that point and leveling up summoners and really digging into silver and potentially gold in the near future. So as a player, I've kind of just been floating along, and most of what I'm doing within the game is taking the DEC that I win or the DEC that I get from rentals and reinvesting that back into cards that it's kind of split right now. Most of the time I'm investing into cards that I can rent out because I like the compounding nature of that. But more recently, as you might have seen in a previous video, the cards that I play most often with, I want to have gold versions of. Just because to me, the 10% bonus that you get is something that will compound over time. And as I do plan on playing this game, at least for the foreseeable future, I want to be able to use cards that will get me that 10% bonus every single time, or every single game that I use them and win. Now, folks were calling out the fact that, I put money in land, I put money in this, I put money in SPS. If I had just focused on one or two splinters, which is the general, I would say that the common advice that I hear, especially from players who've been around for a while, it's just like, hey, focus on a couple splinters and max out your cards on those, and you'll be good. So for me, that just hasn't been the focus, right? For me, as you can see, most of my playable deck is going to be either the Ghost starter cards or everything is level 1. I do own some leveled up cards right now, but the only leveled up summoner that I have is Kretch, right? Who's at level 2. So, and that is that even the max for silver? I don't even know. Nope, I can go to level 3 in silver. Crazy. Okay. So I don't even have a maxed out for the league that I'm playing in. But for me, like I said, the way that I'm trying to approach this game is to again, as an investor first, and to figure out how do I people aren't going to like this, but how do I extract value from the game and realize some of the gains that I have had within it, right? Now, people are going to look at this. I'm not I'm not promoting being some leech where you just come in and try to extract as much value. In fact, I preach quite the opposite. I think I own a ton of assets within this game, and I think that is the real value. And I have zero plans of selling those assets. What am I talking about in terms of extracting value? Well, I'm talking about converting DEC into US dollars, right? So DEC that I would either win from a game or more specifically and more commonly would be coming in from rentals. Now, to me, the main goal of this was, or, at least initially when I bought SPS, not fully understanding the game and thinking like, okay, if this game takes off, then I will be happy with the price appreciation of the token. But after seeing the robust economy that lives within Splinterlands, the game, right? And even externally in terms of the markets, the third-party markets that exist outside on like Hive Engine and all these other places. I've never used Wax or Atomic Hub, so I can't really speak to those. But seeing this whole kind of economy that exists there made me realize, hey, I can not only invest in SPS, but staking SPS not only gets me a sweet APR, but I've realized from becoming, much more involved, going to the AMAs, doing my research and being like, okay, SPS is really the main thing I want to be holding in the long run, because that is what's going to get me the most benefits as an investor and as a player. So staking SPS, I don't want to sell ideally. So how do I realize some of the gains from this investment for me? Again, going back to DEC from rentals. So a big part of what I have been doing is buying cards that have high rental value, even if it doesn't make sense, even if that money would have helped me get a better deck to be a better player. I'm just not interested in that right now. I'm going to make my play as a player, right? I'm going to make my push as a player once Chaos Legion comes out. Right now, and for, probably the foreseeable future, even after that happens, I want to be taking the, whatever my earnings are and buying more in-game assets, right? I still want to continue investing. The only thing that I'm extracting value from is DEC. And that, this is where crypto magic internet money is going to meet the real world, right? You hear stories about this all the time for people where, especially in other parts of the world. I'm in the U.S., but in other parts of the world where they're able to make a full-time salary for and meet all the needs of whatever expenses they have playing games. Like you hear it with Axie, and I'm sure people are doing it with Splinterlands as well. Now, for me, thankfully, that's not the case, but I want to be able to realize some of the gains without selling any of the main assets. And I think that's actually one of the best parts about a game / investment like Splinterlands, is the fact that I can continue to hold the assets for a long period of time, but they will be income producing and providing value to me in many ways that I can extract that makes sense. So again, I'm not promoting to be some leech or, blood sucking, whatever, that comes in and just wants to take everything out of the game. In fact, from every video that you've heard of me, you've heard that buy cards, buy SPS, and just become an important and more significant part of this economy, and really just buy into it. Because at least if you have conviction that the game is going to go somewhere, that the player base is growing, and that there's a lot of really cool things down the road, I don't think that you can go wrong, right? Now, this is a long-term mindset. For me, I'm at a point where, I'll share with you guys just to be transparent. From my rentals here, I'm making about a little over 900 DEC per day in my rentals, right? Now, I haven't actually started extracting that, or at least I hadn't started until a couple of days ago. A lot of that was being rolled right back into the game and buying more cards that will allow me to increase that number, right? Because it wasn't at 900 when I first started. And it wasn't even at 900 a couple of weeks ago. It's every single day I take whatever DEC that I have, right, that I get from my rentals. I take whatever DEC that I have from my winnings. I do the giveaways here and there. Anything left over from that has been put into buying more cards. And again, if you want to sit in DC, I know there are people hoarding DEC. That is not my strategy. And I've given you the reasons why that is not my strategy for the airdrop, because at some point the airdrop's going to end. So right now, for me, owning assets, and I don't consider DEC an asset. I consider DEC a currency. So owning assets is the name of the game, and I want to be owning as many assets as possible in the long term. So hopefully that gave you guys at least a little bit more in-depth insight into where I'm coming from. And again, I'm not saying that anybody was calling me out or saying that I suck as a player or being offensive or insulting. It was more so just I had gotten several comments that were just like, hey, if you had done this instead of that, or if you had bought these cards instead of buying land, for example, you would have had a maxed out, silver water deck. And it's just like, oh, I know buying land was not, and I only own one plot, but it's like buying land wasn't, something that I did to become a better player. Buying land was something where it was just like, I want to be part of the land economy when the expansion comes out. And, I don't know, maybe at that point I won't really be playing the game as much. Maybe I will, who knows where things will be, but I wanted to own land, and I wanted to see what the economy behind land would be if I could rent it out, or if whatever resources that it would produce would be things that, again, would provide income for me to continue building out the assets that I have within game, but also, as I said before, start to realize some of those gains and just have a steady income stream from an investment. And I think, again, I'm approaching this as an investment. Now, it's a damn good investment. It's super fun. I cannot play like this when I'm holding my Bitcoin and Ethereum tokens, right? It's just, I can't, right? But I can do that within a game, around an ecosystem with DEC and SPS, and then all of the NFTs that are here and part of this. So that's what makes it really exciting. That's what I love about it. And, but yeah, I'm buying and holding the assets and then extracting value from the income produced from those assets. And then either buying more assets or taking those and, paying for a night out or dinner or whatever the case is, or who knows where this would go in the future, right? So that's all I have for you guys in today's video. If this was helpful, I would appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. It's an easy way to support the channel. Otherwise, I will see you guys around the game, and I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome rest of your day.